Welcome to Rom Wills Money Matters. Soliciting clients requires radiation. Now, what is radiation? Back in the summer of 1987, I briefly worked with this company that was selling encyclopedias. Yeah, Google has kind of taken encyclopedias out of the business, at least as far as I know. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, I was selling encyclopedias, and the way I would sell them is I would carry, I had like some documents showing what type of encyclopedias they were, what they offered and everything. But one of the most important things I learned was the concept of radiation. That was part of the sales pitch, because when we would go to different offices, we would have like some receipts on us, and these receipts would be people we had talked to. Not necessarily that we sold, but people we had talked to. See, radiation is just the whole thing of getting somebody to think somebody else has bought this product. And and let's just be real, it was some scuzzy elements. I didn't stay with it long, because we would write down a name even if the person rejected the thing. We'll say, oh yeah, we talked to this person, we talked to this person. They didn't have any interest in everything, and I was just like, But I learned the concept of radiation. Now, what does that mean as far as why I'm talking about it now? Well, one of the things I get every now and then, I get somebody who's offering me, like, say, hey, yeah, I seen what you're doing well. I can do like thumbnails for you. That's a big thing. A lot of content creators probably get that. And, there's like, yeah, we can sell it and everything, all of that. Now, one, I can do my own thumbnails. Two, I've checked out other thumbnails for other bigger channels. They don't really have a lot. They might have their face, and maybe they might have something across the title. I'm like, well, shoot, I can do that. Some of them don't even have that. So I'm like, what's the point of that? See, I'm gonna be real with you, and this is to anybody who sells those. One, I can do it. I can change up stuff myself. Two, I don't see how it's getting people any more clients or anything like that. It's one of those things people trying to make a little bit of money off of. See, let me just say something just real quick about that. I noticed that you get a lot of people trying to make money and trying to think, oh, you're going to sell something. But I'm like, no. And see, here's that. One, I can do it myself. Two, they never provide radiation. Okay, you're offering me, like somebody had written me recently, sent me this big old paragraph, hey, I can do this many, for this amount of money, this many. I didn't see any samples. If I were to think about doing something, I want to know you can do the job. And to me, that's stupid business. If you one of those people offering anything, offer, like say, yeah, I can do it, here are samples of my work. And these are content creators who use thumbnails for me. That's how you do the business. You don't try to act like you just starting off. First of all, like I said, I don't need to do that. I don't need to. I can do it myself. I got nothing but time to do it myself. So, but I'm like looking, I'm like, okay, you're not providing radiation. Radiation is just simply, I've done this for someone else. Now, I would advise not to do some scuzzy stuff like when I was selling encyclopedia sets. I advise against that. Don't lie, but at least be able to find, first, this is what I would say, find somebody who knows you and will say, oh yeah, I'll let you do some stuff. Do a good job, and then when you go to the next client or potential client, have something you can say, well, okay, well, this is what I have. Now, and that's more than just for doing something online, for anything. For anything. Yeah, because ask yourself something. Why should somebody spend some money on your business? They don't know if you can do a good job. And it's tough. It's tough. But once you do a good job, regardless of what it is, Well, two things. One, you can recommend people. You can say, well, I did this. It could be cutting grass. That's like, well, I cut this grass. I took some pictures. Here you go. This is what I can do. And two, the people you did the work for, they can advertise for you. But that's radiation. That's the simple concept of radiation. Who else has bought it? And you know, it's interesting, that concept, I've used it in a lot of other stuff too. Just, I mean, I could talk about radiation on my relationship channels. You know, I could talk about that. It's just like, you know, mate might be interested in you because other people are. And that's all it is. So if you're soliciting, first of all, soliciting is tough anyway. But if you're going to solicit customers out of the blue, you need to show them that you can do the work. And you need to be honest about it. It's just that simple. It's just that simple because, first of all, anybody with money, any business with money, shoot, they're going to be tight with it. They can't just be taking a chance on somebody. Like at best, if you know someone personally, you might want to help them out. If you know them personally, you've seen something, you have an idea what they do. But anybody else, it was like, oh no, well, who else have you helped out? Who else? Like I felt I had people offer to edit stuff. And I'm like, I'll do that myself anyway. But you haven't showed, who else have you edited for? You know, I don't care what it is. If you want clients, you need to show them that you can do the work. So you first have to, I mean, if you see you just starting out, maybe you might find somebody nice enough to say, well, okay, I'll take a chance on you. And that'll be tough. But once you do a good job for them, take pictures, get a recommendation, then you can go on to the next one. That's the best way to do it. You gotta have some radiation. Don't cold call people, because one of the things that looks scummy, and I wish I had a dime every time I've heard about somebody doing business with somebody and they didn't do a good job. Like, and I remember this a long time, this ain't something recent. I remember when I worked for this website, remember 1,000 jobs, and the owners, they wanted this guy to do some marketing for them. They paid him money. He did a lousy ass job. He did a lousy ass job. He didn't help them at all. But he didn't, and you know, my thought even back then, because this, you know, this was, I already had the concept of radiation. I was like, well, how did y'all know he could do a good job? In fact, that particular website, I ain't gonna call their name, they did a lot of stuff without really seeing if the person could do the job. And let's just say they're defunct, because they didn't provide radiation. If I were to solicit clients for anything, I would have radiation. I would have legitimate radiation. First of all, if I were to solicit clients for anything, first I would find people who I know who might give me a chance to show something. Then I would say, okay, can I take some pictures? Can I get a testimony? Then I go to the next person. Then I go. That's how you do. But soliciting without radiation, most people are just gonna be like, no, I don't know you. You know, how many people, let's use that example of doing thumbnails. If I were thinking about that, I'd be like, well, I need to see some stuff. You know, I need to see some stuff. And then I need to see, okay, how much money has this person made using your stuff? Because I would say for me, I'm making money doing the things I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, you know? And I had one guy, I had to block him on IG. He's trying to make some assumptions. I'm like, you don't know how much money I'm making doing this. Don't make any assumptions and don't try to force it. Radiation. Let me see what you can do, you know? In fact, the only business I've done, I've gotten music from people, but I saw what they could do. I could go right to their websites and see what they could do. So understand that. If you're gonna solicit clients, you gotta have some radiation, all right? So anyway, that's all I have for right now. Y'all know the deal. Let's go make that money.